Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Trina, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all of the anime shows and movies that I have watched for the month of March. So as you can see here in front of you, this is my media journal. I have talked about this journal previously, and this is my journal wherein I place all of the super spoilery information that I don't really often share online, like my thoughts and feelings on a certain anime. However, once this whole notebook is done, just a few more, I will be flipping through this. And so this whole spread I made 2 pages of houses all of the manga, movies, and anime that I have watched per month. This is how I keep track of it. So here we have 3 indicators. Blue is for manga, purple is for movie, and gold or yellow for the anime series. So how I note this down is that I write the title, not in particular order of watch, but I write the title. For the anime, I have written here how many episodes are there in that anime that I've watched within the month. For manga, I have as well the number of chapters that I've watched. But the only difference is when it comes to movies. If it's a movie, I like to note down how many movies that I have watched. So if this is the first movie, then it's 1, then next is 2, 3, 4, and so on. So for the first quarter, I made here a check-in. So each page here will include 3 months if I could fit it. So for the first quarter, I have finished 38 unique anime titles, which in total is 508 episodes, 17 movies, 10 manga titles, and I have read 1,188 manga chapters. So sometimes I'd like to do a year-end reflection of all of the titles that I've watched. So in a way, this helps me with the totals moving down the line so that I don't need to start counting from the very start. So I'll just refer to these quarterly check-ins when I put out my final tally with the statistics for the end of the year. So what I will be doing today actually is to talk about all of the anime that I've watched for the month of March. I usually include this in my plan with me for the coming month. However, I have watched a total of 33 shows for the month of March, and I thought that it's kind of lengthy. So instead, I'm making this video presenting you with the spread and how I keep track of it. And in a way, I will be putting here on screen maybe the image of the anime that I am referring to. I'll edit it in. And so I shall begin with the first one. So the first one, I will be going by the account that I have entered through my anime list. This is in order of when I watched or inputted it in my account. So the first one that I have here is actually Death Billiards, which is, it is counted as a movie, but somehow it is sort of an OVA because it was very short, 25 minutes. It is a continuation to Death Parade. In a way, I really think that Death Parade is a very underrated psychological suspense drama anime that I really recommend anyone who is interested in that genre to watch at least once in their life, because the problems, the issues between good and evil, and how people perform once they know that their life is in the line. It's very interesting on how humane or humanity acts when the going gets tough, and then realizing that one of them is going to heaven and one is going to hell. So how do they perform? How do they and how do they interact with the person that they are competing with? And it's sort of like their true colors come out. And so that is what Death Billiards is as well. It makes you think. So this is, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but in general, I'll try to not say anything spoilery. But in Death, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your standing, it doesn't matter your wealth and everything that you have earned in your lifetime. Once you have reached that point in your life wherein all you have is you and your body and your spirit, and also your experiences. So it's, in a way, it ended up making me feel worried and concerned about both the characters and what really is going on, because even in the end, it's sort of open-ended and sinister. So anyway, I gave the series an 8 out of 10. As I said, I really like Death Parade, so I highly recommend it. The second one here is, oh, before I mention anything, This list of anime shows that I've watched is because of my Cards Decide Might watch list. So the yellow ones that you see here highlighted are the ones from my first batch of anime, and I quickly gone through it. So that's why I had a second go for these, because like I finished my first set in like the first 12 days of the month. So there's still a lot of days left, and I decided to add a few more titles. That is why I got to a Pokemon movie, Pokemon Jirachi Wishmaker. So of course, Pokemon movies are for mostly for kids, but me as an adult who really loves Pokemon and grew up with the Pokemon franchise, I really enjoyed it. I don't necessarily watch this in order, so this is the 6th movie, wherein a child awakened Jirachi, and of course, bad people wanted to use the power of a legendary in order to prove their worth or their research and such. So that's basically the gist of it. So as the gist of most of Pokemon movies in general. However, I did find it enjoyable, and I understand that if you're not into Pokemon, you won't really be interested in such as well. So it is a 7 out of 10 for me in terms of enjoyment. I watch the English dub for all of my Pokemon movies off of Bilibili, if ever I find them. And so it is like one of those movies that you put up whenever you want to have like background noise, and that is the purpose of me watching Pokemon movies in general. Next, we have here Ghost Hound. Ghost Hound is one of my mystery psychological suspense shows that I have seen actually through anime lists online, and I'm quite interested in it because it is small town horror. It is supernatural. So I will read to you the synopsis because I want to pitch this properly. I gave this an 8 out of 10, so it was fairly enjoyable. So the strange things are happening around the town of Suiten. The daughter of a priest begins to see strange visions. Spirits have started to roam the mountains, and Komori Taro is having unsettling dreams. Due to the trauma of being kidnapped 11 years ago, he has repressed most of the memories that could shed light on what really happened all those years. But they return in his sleep, combined with encounters beyond the realm of dreams. As the supernatural and psychological collide, 3 children struggle to face their demons and repair the breach between the spiritual and corporeal worlds. So basically, not to give too much information, this main character and his sister got kidnapped as a child. He was the only one who survived. He has been having nightmares of the incident, but cannot remember the face of the perpetrator who killed his sister. And so what ended up happening is that whoever the perpetrator was connected to far more sinister things that's happening in a small town. In a way, it's not only, I don't know why they did not put this, but in a way, it is supernatural sci-fi. So in a way, there is like research, there is so many things that happen, and they're all interconnected. And by the time that you reach the very end, you will know the reason why these 3 children are connected with each other. And yeah, 8 out of 10, I enjoyed it. Next, we have here Humanity Has Declined. Humanity Has Declined is an adventure comedy and fantasy that is very much rainbows and sunshine, but not really, because it's a dystopian scenario wherein humanity's birth rate is actually very slow. So humanity is almost extinct. In exchange, fairies have taken over the world. And so our main character, who is nameless, is the arbiter or mediator between humans and fairies, and they went through all different sort of chaos, and it's all sunshine and rainbows until you notice that the main character is starting to have social commentary, breaking a fourth wall, and it's actually very entertaining for me. And I really like the fairies. They're like little sprites, little harvest sprites from Harvest Moon, and they're very adorable and basically useless. So anyway, I hope I pitched that well. But yes, I recommend watching Humanity Has Declined if you're free and like need something to like watch, like something light to watch. Next, we have here Blast of Tempest. So going into Blast of Tempest, I've actually noticed that this might be related to the Tempest from Shakespeare. However, I have not finished reading the Tempest at all. However, even though I've given Blast of Tempest like 7 out of 10, I really do not enjoy the later half of the anime. So this is a 24 episode anime, and by episode 13 going forward, I kind of lost interest in the whole plot line because it has twisted on its head sort of situation and by the end of it, you kind of expect who the real, like, I will say, because this is shown here in the synopsis, that this girl got killed. Her adopted brother, as well as the best friend of that brother, is finding who the killer is and is wanting to take revenge on the killer, while all of the world is starting to, like, go into decay or disaster because of a certain disease or phenomenon. And so it's full of magic, and it's full of Shakespeare quote dropping, which I at first kind of found it fine until it grew quite annoying, because almost every episode this girl who died is dropping quotes from Hamlet and Tempest, and it was endearing at first, but as time goes on, it's kind of annoying. And also the main girl character, who is alive and is supposed to be like the princess or something, is I liked her before episode 12 or 13 happened. That's all I can say. So anyway, 7 out of 10. I think it was decent. Next is Fena Pirate Princess. Fena Pirate Princess, action, adventure, fantasy, and historical. In a way, I enjoy the concept of having a, what do you call this? You will understand actually why she is being called Pirate Princess in the end. But the only thing that I was like complaining, I don't really complain, but like the only thing that I want to comment about actually is that this anime fused pirates and ninjas in one anime and added like what you call that, Maiden of Orleans near the end. So that's a hodgepodge of different cultures if you think about it. But I do adore the romance. I don't know why they didn't put romance here, but I think the main guy character's Gapmo is kind of adorable, so that's why I think it kept me going and pushing forward, and it's quite short anyway, so that's why. Next we have here Made in Abyss, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun, which is, I think, the highest rated anime that I have watched for the month of March, which is a 9 out of 10. I really love Made in Abyss. I have read the manga. I have watched first season. This is the second season, by the way. And in a way, the second season is a whole nother culture, a whole nother level. And if you're not into like gore, there is a lot of gore happening here, and it is far more intense, I think, concept-wise, when it comes to like morality, survival, decision-making, your guilt on doing something bad, and you have stayed immortal because of this bad deed and something like that. So it is very interesting. It's very how should I put this, like it's like they have made their own culture in this level of, if you don't know Made in Abyss, it's like they go through levels down into this world and discover different cultures, different dangers, so to speak, and they're adventuring through the abyss in the hopes of finding the mother of the main character. So I really like it. I'm very excited to watch for more of this. And if you're into like Promised Neverland, the manga, then you probably would also like Made in Abyss, because you would think that it's cutesy, but it's not, sort of situation. Next, in any of the videos that I've filmed so far, I am not actually good at continuing with series and shows. So this is the second season. I have watched the first season like years ago when it came out. So this is, I am 2 years late actually to this. So in continuation, this is an isekai comedy reincarnation in action anime wherein the main character got isekai'd and turned into a slime, into a very overpowered slime. So in this season, he has built a kingdom, and of course, if the main character of an isekai anime is a ruler, he will go into negotiations, territorial fights, that sort of situation. So in a way, the first few episodes, or should I say the first 10 episodes, is like, I know this is probably just my opinion, but I feel like it is a huge filler, like establishing probably what is to come in the next few seasons, I guess. Like, they present these people who are his students, these people who are in alliance with his kingdom and negotiation with other monster kingdoms and classes and such. And by the last 2 episodes, that is when it ramps up with the problems, with the issue, with the territorial disputes. And I think the last 2 episodes actually saved the whole season, because I believe that if it continued to be like slow pace all throughout the season, I would probably think that this is just a filler season. So that is why I gave it a 7 out of 10. But still, I really enjoy and love the series, and I will probably watch the next part of the, I think it is season 2 part 2, right? Yeah, season 2 part 2 in the coming months. March comes in like a lion, or Sangatsu no Lion. This was a recommendation actually from a friend of mine in Instagram. She really loves, this is a 2-part series. And when I found out that this is like childcare, iyashikei sort of drama with the addition of shogi as its main game, and I have come to understand all of the issues, all of the trauma by the end. So it started out as very slow introduction to the game, introduction to the backstory of the main character, his traumas, and why he is what he is. The only thing that I don't like is the adoptive sister. So he was adopted by a friend of his father when the parents passed away, and that's why he started becoming a professional shogi player. And yeah, I actually look forward to the next season of this. I have yet to push for it. I give it an 8 out of 10. I'm willing to watch more of it, and because of my because of my challenge, that's why I only have been watching like the first season of each of the anime. You will notice it later that I scrapped that idea, but anyway. This is Kizumonogatari. 1, 2, and 3 is up here. I don't know why it changed there, but actually this is a very high rated vampire supernatural mystery anime. However, I rated the 2 first movies as 6 and rated the last one as 5. I'm sorry if there are fans here. However, I haven't watched Bakemonogatari yet. That's why maybe I am not as attached to the characters. However, I feel like if I am put into a situation wherein I will watch this movie, I would rather it be just one whole or just a 2-parter rather than a 3-parter, because although the story is interesting, the style is beautiful, I don't like that I am being dragged when it comes to a vampire movie. I, for one, am finding like a very nice vampire movie that does not involve like romance or girls with big boobs and such. And the girl here, I forgot her name already, but the human girl who is looking for a vampire is very fan servicey near the end. So that's why I don't really enjoy those scenes of her, as well as the main guy character started out as like very badass, and then he starts to become a wimp, then a badass again, and then a wimp again. And it's not my cup of tea. So if you love this series, then good for you. But if I were to but if it's with me, I don't think that I'm going to watch Bakemonogatari anymore, unless someone out there is going to pitch it for me and say that it's really worth it to watch. And so next we have here Pokemon Heroes, which is Latios and Latias. This is the 5th one. This is before the Jirachi movie. I have watched part of this, so this is like a continuation of what I've been watching. I don't know much to say about Pokemon movies, but I do know that this is a little bit more tragic compared to the ones that I've watched before. I have known that Pokemon in general has sad scenes, especially the early shows. So in a way, this has a bit of tragedy. So I appreciate that it's not just like always happy endings. It does have a happy ending actually, but in a way that they moved on, sort of happy ending. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Would watch another Pokemon movie. I probably will finish all of the 20 plus movies anyway. Next here we have Garden of Sinners. So this is the part wherein I did not realize that this is a 7 movie plus OVA specials sort of series. So that is why, even though I said that I will be watching only the first one, I decided to watch all 7 of the main movies. So I'll go through this slowly, or as slow as I can. The first chapter, Overlooking View. By the way, this anime is actually UFO Table, Fate Grand Order, Fate Stay Night, if you are familiar with this. This is the story of Shiki. Roji Shiki is actually a very problematic sort of character. I really love her, but in a way, she is between good and bad. And she, in her situation here, they have been what do you call that? They have been investigating. Oh my god, I'm losing with my words. They have been investigating series of murders, very brutal murders that they believe that no human can do. And throughout her stories, we learned that she has a sort of gift in her eyes, wherein she can sense where is the kill point of a certain person. And all throughout the city, there are other also similarly gifted to her. Of course, these are like mages in the Fate universe. There is a lot of like mages and witchcraft and such. So that is why they started to discover the same sort of incidents that has happened all throughout the city, the same sort of incident that they have investigated a few years before throughout the movie. I think you shouldn't skip any of the movies because they tell a complete story about who Shiki is, her backstory with the guy that loves her, the backstory of the sister of that guy, the backstory of like the relationship between the detective and also the mages that are the antagonists, and so on and so forth. So it's very interesting, very interconnecting, and by the end of the whole movie, you will start to understand what goes around. And actually, I've actually rated 2 movies, which is the 5th one and the 7th one, as a 9, and the rest is like 7 and 8. And the ones that I've placed here as 7 is actually like an introduction or like a filler backstory so you could understand more about the character, and it's very short. And this one is because it's sort of like an incest sort of situation. So I don't know why there are always anime wherein they're a brother or sister is like siscon or brocon sort of situation, and I'm not very I'm not interested nor comfortable with that topic. But here in the 5th one, Paradox Spiral, there's a lot of action here, and then in the 7th one, the last one wraps up all of the stories from the previous movie. So anyway, that is it. I still highly recommend The Garden of Sinners if you have time. It's like 1 hour 30 minutes per movie. Sometimes it's 45 minutes. So it's a fun series to watch in one sitting. Next, we have here Ghost Hunt. Ghost Hunt, I think this is now we're into the second part of my cards decide my watch list pulls. So one of them is actually Ghost Hunt, which is a horror supernatural series. I like the concept wherein it is basically ghost hunting, or seeing if the situation that's happening in a particular location is really a curse, is really because of ghosts, or is it because of human malice from human actions or such. And I enjoy the concept. I just don't like that the anime constantly tells you that the main character is handsome. I mean, I get it. He is a very I can't really say bishonen, but he's good looking, but you don't need to hammer it that much. Although they suddenly made it like a gag in the middle, which I enjoyed. So 7 out of 10. If you're interested in like horror, no, not horror, like ghost stories, like Japanese ghost stories, it's kind of like this, but with a bit of like, these are kids, by the way, so they're like teenagers, 17, 15, 16. So you get the gist of ghost hunting with kids. Next, we have here Blue Spring Ride, Owl Haru Ride. This is one of the romance anime that I have been putting off because I don't particularly gravitate toward romance, but I have bit the bullet. I like it. However, it made me very stressful by the end. So this is about a two high school kids. The girl and the guy are met in middle school. The girl has feelings for the guy. He moved out. The girl was being bullied for being cutesy in middle school, so she became like a sort of tomboyish by high school to like make a change in her image so that she won't get bullied. But somehow she feels like it isn't her personality, it isn't her, she's like acting the part. And so the guy who left in middle school returned, and she was wondering if the guy still has feelings for her and such. And it's a cute romance, but I'm just very much stressed out throughout the anime. Next here is Your Lie in April, another one of those romance that I've been afraid to watch because I heard that this is a cry anime. 8 out of 10. I did not cry as much as I cried in Orange. Although I have been spoiled a lot of this anime, I still wanted to watch it because I want to understand the motivations and the why the pianist does not play anymore. And soon I understand, and it's somehow also like a coming of age sort of situation. So it's fine. So I had to pause the video because this dog keeps barking, my neighbor's dog. So the next one I have here is Black Summoner. This isekai fantasy is an anime that I did not expect to like that much. You know how isekai has been a constant genre, starting with the I can't remember if it's like the early 2020s or like in recent years. It's always like isekai fantasy, game fantasy. And for this case, however, I know that there are a lot of isekai protagonists that are more of a ruler class or like summoner class. However, in this case, I can't help but think or associate the Kelvin, the main character, as Child from Genshin Impact, because he is very much, in a way, he is smart. He is smooth. He knows what he's doing. He looks like a nice guy, but when it comes to battling, he is actually a battle mania, and he really gets excited once he fights harder bosses and harder characters. So that's why I am associating Kelvin with him. But what I like about this character, almost similar to like Cautious Hero, is because this isekai protagonist is not much of a like pervert. They don't rub it in as like a comedic gag on him being like wanting a harem or something. And of course, it's not in the genre tag list, so that's maybe why it's not. But I really enjoyed this. I want to watch more of it actually. So yeah, I highly recommend Black Summoner if you're just interested in an adventure. Next we have here is the Tatami Galaxy. I also rated this as a 9 out of 10. Oh, it turns out I have actually rated a lot of 9 out of 10 here, but no 10 out of 10 for this month, sadly. Still, it's good. This is award-winning comedy, psychological time travel, and somewhat a romance. So the Tatami Galaxy, actually, I got thrown off by the art style, but I soon grew to enjoy it. It is very, it's not necessarily avant-garde, but it's fun. It's very geometric. At first, I don't necessarily understand the concept, but it turns out that this guy wanted a rose-colored college life full of fun, drinking, girls, good grades, that sort of situation, just partying. That is the college life that he wanted. So every start of the episode, he joins a different club. This club, he hopes he could meet the girl of his dreams and have like the perfect college life. And what ended up happening is that each club is like a social commentary on issues about different aspects of society. Scams, cults, media, publicity, stunts, all those situations. And soon he learns that everything is not perfect. So what ended up happening is one of his time skips, he stayed inside his room and he was trying to go out. And as he moves to the next room, he realized that it's his sort of life before. So he discovers the consistency of what is the thing that could break the cycle of all of his failures, of all of his imperfection in life. And I actually really enjoyed the ending of this and how he finally realized that nothing is perfect and you have to grab whatever that is just dangling in front of you in order to have a decent life as a college student. And it's interesting. Next, we have a Requiem from the Darkness. This is a historical mystery horror. First episode going into first screen I see is already like gory horror. So if you're not into that, skip this. I rated this as 7 out of 10. And this is about a writer who got tired of writing riddles for children for a living, so he decided to make like 100 Hyakumonogatari, which is the 100 stories. It's a very common theme for like older anime, wherein they have 100 stories to tell. Most of them are like horror, or most of them are like yokai and such. So he decided to do this, and he meets like supernatural beings and got into situations where he shouldn't. And I rated it as 7 out of 10 because it started to lull a bit, And yeah, still, even so, I enjoyed it, but not as much as the other. Like, I've watched a ton of psychological horror, supernatural, those sorts of genre, and this is not as much as the previous one I've watched. Paripikome. This is a comedy music. This was recommended by my friend, and I have long wanted to watch this. I really enjoyed this. That in a way, it's like Kongming is the one that was isekai to the present, and he uses his knowledge in war tactics into being a manager for this up-and-coming artist Eiko, who is looking to have a big break. And I like that in a way it is music, it is smart, and it is enjoyable actually. And it's also very wholesome, so 9 out of 10. Boogie Pop Phantom. I don't know if Boogie Pop Phantom and Boogie Pop and Others are supposed to be watched together, or which one is the first, but this is the first one that I've watched, and I don't think I'm going to be watching the second one, simply because I gave this a 5 out of 10. It was a mess. I understand that what they're going for was actually like making it a mess. It is about the string of murders was because of one supernatural being, and Boogie Pop is the spiritual, I don't know what you call that. It's like death to them, and so this murderer moves from body to body. It's a very psychological situation, and more or less I didn't understand half of it, except maybe in the end wherein the first victim, the supernatural being, was housed inside the body of the first victim. That's all I can say. So anyway, that is one. I don't necessarily recommend it, but if you want, you can. Tokyo Ghoul Season 1. This is a rewatch because I've forgotten stuff and I haven't actually watched the RE. It goes to show that I haven't watched a ton of like the horror gore, the popular ones. So this is my first like motivation to watch. So I rewatch this first season and I'm moving forward to the next season. I don't know if I need to pitch this because it's very popular. 8 out of 10. I find it enjoyable. Next is Hellsing. Hellsing is also like one of those older horror genres, and I like this because finally I found a vampire anime that I actually like. 8 out of 10. It is about an organization wherein they employ vampires. Specifically, Alucard is a servant of this organization wherein they exterminate other vampires, and Alucard is just there because he wanted to serve his master and something like that. So it's fun. In a way, I enjoyed it. A few more left, 3 more to be exact. This is Ranpo Kitan, Game of Laplace. This is like the stories of Ranpo Edogawa, the stories or the cases of Kogoro Akechi, I think. I haven't read those yet, but I'm familiar with those two characters. Well, Ranpo Edogawa is the writer of Kogoro Akechi. So this is mystery detective anime. I really enjoy this genre, especially all of the detective stuff. Coming from a child that really enjoys Detective Conan, you get me. So in a way, the main character here was a suspect of murdering their homeroom teacher, and he decided to investigate the case. He was very smart, and there's also like a lot of hints of BL shonen ai in this anime, so it's mostly fan servicey but quite funny, and it talks about a lot of like the crime index. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with this or if I'm even knowledgeable enough to explain it, but there's always this concept in like science fiction horror wherein there is a crime index, wherein a system can be created in order to identify when the next crime will happen or when the next incident will happen, and so this is like the main end story of this whole series. I gave it a 7 out of 10 just because I don't know, it is not that much. It didn't speak out to me as much as I hoped it would. Maybe my expectation for it was just too high, so yeah, 7 out of 10. Last two. More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers. This was another recommendation from my friend. My friend really enjoys the comedy, slice of life comedy genre. This is an anime, romance anime, about the school having a requirement that each pair of students will become like they have a practical course to live together, to act like married couples. And so the main girl and the main guy has their own crushes, but they are both paired and their crushes are both paired as well. So in order to have the right to change partner, they had to be at the top 10 of the scoring, whatever scoring the school does for them. They have to get along, and if both of the teams or both of the partners are in the top 10, they have the right to switch partners. But slowly, these two main characters started to get along and maybe have a blossoming relationship. So I found myself rooting for one particular girl, so that's why it's enjoyable. I recommend it, and a lot of like the memes that I find over on Facebook is actually from this anime. So if you're a Genshin player and you've seen like in Facebook Genshin International or Genshin Global group, that when that episode aired wherein he was at the bookshop, and then an image of from Genshin Impact was actually an Easter egg in the bookshop. So yeah, highly recommend. Next we have here the very last one. I finished this actually yesterday, Adventure Sci-Fi Sabikui Bisco. So you'll learn to understand why his name became like this. So the gist of this whole anime is that there is a phenomenon called Rusty Wind. So it's like a dystopian actually. Rusty Wind brought about destruction in their location, Japan, wherein whoever inhales the Rusty Wind will get rusted himself. So it became a sickness that it can't be cured. It can only be like slowed down. And the rust also destroyed facilities and buildings and such. And so they heard this rumor that mushrooms have spread the Rusty Wind, and like the spores and such of the mushroom. But if you think about it, mushrooms are like natural filters for society, and they're scavengers and such. So like that thinking process of the mushrooms being the one that's spreading the disease is kind of like, it's believable, but it's still, they just started to trust that these mushrooms are the one that caused their apocalypse. And then there's what we call the mushroom guardians, wherein they spread mushrooms all throughout the different cities of Japan that are still surviving but have been experienced rusting. And so this doctor, one of the main characters, the doctor wanted to find a way through mushrooms to heal his sister as well as all of the victims of the Rusty Wind. And he got attacked by one of the mushroom guardians, and they took him on an adventure to find these mushrooms that eat rust. And that is the whole that is like the main story that much I can give. And yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because one part of the ending is like very unbelievable. I know that this is like fantasy, but still I thought that I was ready to cry. I was ready to cry because I have grown attached, but because of that incident and the following episodes, I was gonna say, like, take back my tears. I don't need, I shouldn't have cried, so to speak. So that is about it for me today. I have reviewed the clips previously because I've stopped to take a break, but it has gone on for quite a long time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to the next one when I wrap up for April, because I have something exciting in store for the next month. And that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, even though this is very long, but I was very excited to actually film this video for you guys. And yeah, until the next video then. So until then, take care and